Cleopatra, the iconic queen of ancient Egypt, often referred to as Cleopatra VII, was not only a ruler, but a symbol of power, beauty, and intrigue. Her story spans the final years of ancient Egypt's independence and the rise of the Roman Empire. From her early life to her tumultuous relationships with some of the most powerful men in ancient history, her legacy continues to fascinate. So much so that it's inspired various modern-day works of literature, art, theatre, and Netflix docu-series. Today, we're going to be explaining the life of the real Cleopatra, not the fake one. And at the end of the video, we'll be answering the most important question. Was she black? Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE in Alexandria, Egypt, in the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemaic dynasty was founded by Ptolemy I, who was one of Alexander the Great's bodyguards, who was appointed as governor of Egypt after Alexander's death. He then later declared himself pharaoh, and so the Ptolemaic dynasty began. Although this dynasty has Greek origins, it embraced Egyptian culture in order to keep their Egyptian subjects loyal. Cleopatra's early life was one of privilege and intellectual stimulation. Growing up in the opulent Ptolemaic court, she received a comprehensive education and was exposed to a wide range of cultural influences and developed a keen intellect. She developed a deep interest in learning, philosophy, and the arts, and surrounded herself with scholars, philosophers, and poets, engaging in intellectual discussions and promoting cultural exchange. Her early life also exposed her to the intricate politics and power struggles of the Ptolemaic dynasty. The court was marked by intrigue and internal conflicts, with family members vying for the throne. Cleopatra witnessed firsthand the complexities of maintaining power and the importance of alliances and strategic marriages within the royal family. These formative experiences would shape her future as she navigated the treacherous world of politics and power in her quest to secure her position as Queen of Egypt. In 51 BCE, Cleopatra's father died, leaving the throne to both her and her younger brother, who was only 10 years old. Cleopatra, at 18, likely married her brother, which was the norm in the dynasty. Side-eye. However, their shared rule was filled with tension and conflicts. Cleopatra gained influence and aimed to be the sole ruler, leading to a power struggle with her brother, and this resulted in Cleopatra being ran out of Egypt in 48 BCE. During her exile, Cleopatra waited for the right moment and raised an army to reclaim her throne. In 48 BCE, she went to Rome, seeking support from Julius Caesar, who was involved in a civil war against Pompey the Great, who was another prominent military leader and political figure in ancient Rome. Popular mythology says that Cleopatra made a memorable entrance into Caesar's presence by secretly entering his palace, rolled up in a carpet. Whether this is true or not is debated. Regardless, carpets back in those days must have been dusty. Impressed by her intelligence, charm, and beauty, Caesar became her ally and lover. With his military backing, Cleopatra returned to Egypt in 47 BCE and successfully took back her throne, ousting her brother who died in the conflict. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar went beyond romance. It was politically advantageous. She had a son with Caesar named Caesarion and presented him as Caesar's legitimate heir. Cleopatra's alliance with Caesar helped secure her position in Egypt and ensured her survival against the growing influence of Rome. In 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated in Rome, creating a power struggle. Cleopatra saw an opportunity to strengthen her position and formed an alliance with Caesar's trusted general, Mark Antony. In 41 BCE, Cleopatra met Antony in Tarsus, arriving on a magnificent golden barge with purple sails, accompanied by attendants dressed as Greek gods and goddesses. Cleopatra's beauty, wit, and extravagant display impressed Antony, and they began a passionate affair that would shape world history. Cleopatra and Mark Antony formed a powerful union, both politically and romantically. Antony recognized Caesarion as Caesar's legitimate heir and granted Cleopatra territories in the east, including parts of Syria, Lebanon, and Judea. They had 3 children together, twins Cleopatra Selene II and Alexander Helios, and a son named Ptolemy. Cleopatra successfully and skillfully used her charm and political savvy to secure her position amidst the complex dynamics of Roman politics. Despite their initial successes, Antony's relationship with Cleopatra and his extravagant lifestyle became unpopular in Rome. Tensions began brewing between Mark Antony and Octavian, who was another prominent leader in Rome at the time. Antony had divorced Octavian's sister Octavia and was accused of squandering Roman resources in Egypt. The Roman Senate declared war on Cleopatra, considering her a threat to the Republic, and viewed Antony as her enabler. This set the stage for the Battle of Actium, where Octavian's forces defeated Cleopatra and Antony's combined fleets. The defeat was a significant setback for Cleopatra's ambitions and marked a turning point in her fortunes. After the battle, Cleopatra and Antony retreated to Alexandria, and Octavian pursued them. Their situation grew dire. In 30 BCE, realizing that capture and humiliation by Octavian was inevitable, Antony took his own life, stabbing himself. Upon hearing of Antony's death, Cleopatra, heartbroken and unwilling to be paraded through the streets of Rome, made the decision to end her own life as well. Accounts of Cleopatra's death vary, but the most famous version comes from the writings of Plutarch, a Greek historian, and then later embellishments by William Shakespeare. According to these accounts, Cleopatra arranged a meeting with one of Octavian's generals under the pretense of negotiating surrender. However, knowing her fate, Cleopatra then concealed herself and sent word to Octavian that she had taken her own life. On August 12th, 30 BCE, Cleopatra was discovered dead in her mausoleum. The exact cause of her death is unknown and still debated to this day, but it's widely believed that she died from the snake bite of an Egyptian cobra. Cleopatra's death became legendary, as the cobra was associated with royalty and divine protection. With her passing, the Ptolemaic dynasty came to an end, and Egypt became a Roman province. Cleopatra's historical significance is extensive and far-reaching. Cleopatra's relationship with powerful Roman leaders, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, played a vital role in maintaining Egypt's autonomy and influence in a rapidly changing world. Her reign marked the final chapter in ancient Egypt as an independent kingdom as it transitioned to becoming a Roman territory. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony showcased her diplomatic skills and ability to navigate complex political landscapes. Beyond her political achievements, Cleopatra's legacy transcends time. Her iconic status as a beautiful and powerful woman has captivated the imagination of artists, writers, and scholars throughout history. Her story has been immortalized in countless works of literature, arts, and theatre, and in Netflix. Now this leads us nicely to the most important question of our day and age. Was she black? We're going to weigh up the evidence for and against, starting with for. First would be her Egyptian heritage. Although Cleopatra was born into the ruling Ptolemaic dynasty, which traced its origins back to Ptolemy I, a Macedonian general of Alexander the Great, it's important to note that the Ptolemies often intermarried with Egyptians and other Mediterranean populations, leading some to argue that Cleopatra may have had African ancestry. Okay? The second would be intermarriage and cultural exchange. Cleopatra's family history suggests a long tradition of intermarriage with prominent Egyptians and other North African groups. This intermarriage could have resulted in the blending of ethnic backgrounds that contributed to her potential African heritage. The third would be depictions in ancient art, although I think this is more evidence against than evidence for, but whatever, we'll roll with it. So some ancient artworks portray Cleopatra with physical features that some interpret as indicating African ancestry. These depictions, although often open to interpretation, include features such as full lips and a broad nose. I'll leave you guys to decide or judge via the pictures that you see on screen and let me know what you think. And now moving on to evidence against. The first is her Greek Ptolemaic heritage. The ruling class of the Ptolemaic kingdom identified themselves as Greeks and often married within their own lineage, which suggests a predominantly Greek heritage for Cleopatra. The second was her Greek cultural identity. Cleopatra embraced Greek culture and language, and she was the first ruler of the Ptolemaic dynasty to actually learn the Egyptian language. This cultural alignment with Greek traditions indicates a stronger connection to a Greek ancestry rather than African heritage. The third is from contemporary Roman sources. Ancient Roman historians such as Plutarch and Cassius Dio, who lived closer to Cleopatra's time, described her as having a Greek appearance and do not make specific references to her being of African descent. In my opinion, from weighing the evidence up, the answer to the ultimate question of our time, was Cleopatra black, is probably not. And that's okay. It just is what it is. The end. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts upon weighing up the evidence yourselves. And we'll see you again in the next one.